These guys are ridiculous. These guys
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording on Friday,
how about
June
them damn
14th,
Celtics?
after the Celtics Game 4 loss to the Dallas Mavericks. Got absolutely blown out. Everybody celebrated a little bit too early about potential banner 18. Celtics lose 122-84, the third largest margin of victory in NBA Finals history. Just so it's not a completely negative start, teams that have lost, by X amount of points, the top 15 losses, have all come back to we are 10-5 in the next games. If we'd like to spin it a little bit, so we're not completely down in the dumps here. But I wanted to open this by asking you a question, Sam, if that's all right with you. Before on the pregame show, you mentioned to me it's kind of a win-win. Lose, you can win at home still. Win, champions. After a loss like that, curious to know if that take still stands, how you're feeling in general, et cetera, et cetera.
I mean, I'm not happy with what we saw today, but at the same time, it is a consolation that they get to come home and play, right? Like, I mean, ultimately, I would never have chosen for them to lose this game, but I would really enjoy it if they won at home at the same time. Like, it doesn't really excuse, like, today was just like a really disgusting game. It was a game that
weird.
I wanted to turn off, a game that I didn't even want to watch, but I have an obligation to watch it, and it's the finals. But it was pretty just top to bottom dog shit in this game, and not what you wanted to see in a closeout performance. And it's kind of funny, like, the Celtics through the first three games of the series really didn't get off to very good starts. Dallas, in all of them, had some sort of early charge. And then tonight, the Celtics kind of come out, and it's like, they look not bad. It was like, what was it, 11-10? And they were kind of like hanging in there. They were making good plays. And then all of a sudden, it just flipped on its head. I mean, I tweeted it. As soon as that Derek Lively 3 went in, the game was over.
Yes, reflecting on it, I said that in the fourth quarter. I was sitting next to the same guy, Lawrence, who covers the Mavs for Fort Worth. News, I forget the exact outlet. Sorry, Lawrence, appreciate you. But I looked at him like, when Derek Lively made that 3, we kind of should have known. His first 3 ever, by the way, regular season playoffs ever. Never made a 3 in the NBA before. It does. So the nature of the loss doesn't affect your line of thinking on that process.
No, I mean, I have domino thoughts in my head, but I don't have it doesn't they could have lost by 1 today. It doesn't really matter. To be honest with you, Jack, I would rather lose by 38 than
That's
1.
what I was going to ask. That's what I was going to ask you. Okay. Yeah.
Especially if they blew it, right? Like, say they were up 10, everybody's like, oh my God, they're going to win. And then they blow it. And then it's like, what?
Yeah. Well, the biggest thing for me is I want to preface. They played like shit. They were bad. Objectively played a bad game of basketball. It was disgusting, like you said.
Terrible.
The offense was stagnant far too many times. Jason Tatum called it the most stagnant game they've played in the playoffs so far. Offense was bad. Defense was bad. Luka got whatever he wanted. It was the same hot start that him and Kyrie got in the last game, except the role players decided to hit their threes too. Celtics didn't close out enough. It was bad. But what made this game so horrific was that on top of that, the Celtics' good shots rimmed out. The Jason Tatum couldn't buy a call inside, and he was trying. Not even the fact that he didn't get the calls. I see you shrug, but the fact that he continuously was trying to go get the calls, and then it wasn't getting them, and then wasn't making the layup, and then the Mavs got to run because of that. Everything that could have gone wrong for the Celtics, my point being, did go wrong for the Celtics in this game. Peyton Pritchard, open 3, went all the way in the basket, bounced all the way out. Drew Holiday got in the post 4 different times for layups, smoked them all, couldn't find the basket. Jaylen Brown got inside a million times early, couldn't find it, couldn't make it through. On top of how terribly they played, because, oh boy, did they play bad. All of the things that could have gone right for the Celtics did not. For as bad as the offensive rebounding was, and let me rephrase again, Sam, it was terrible. All of the balls that could have bounced the Celtics away bounced right over there. Every possible thing that could have gone wrong in this game did go wrong for the Celtics, on top of them playing what was by far their worst game of the season. So it was truly the perfect storm of, oh my God, this is horrific.
Yeah, and I mean, perfect storm is the perfect term. It was awful. The offensive rebounding is awful. I hate watching teams get second chance points, especially a team like Dallas. Let me look through the first. Can I look through the first 3 quarters? Let's just look in the first when the game was decided. It wasn't even the
Yeah.
first couple quarters. The first 3 quarters. Dallas shot 52.3% in the first half. They missed 21 total shots. Of those misses, 8 of them, they got the ball back off an offensive rebound. That can't happen. If a team is already shooting the lights out and making it very difficult for you to get stops on them, you got to get the rebounds. Everybody talking about the overall rebounding battle, I don't know what to tell you, because ultimately when the Celtics shoot 29% in the first half, they're going to have a lot more rebounds up for grabs for the Mavericks. But the point still stands. If you're pointing at rebounds, just look at the offensive stuff, and that'll get you your story. They
Definitely.
didn't box at anybody.
No, it was bad. And when they did box out, like I said, see you later, 3-pointer, get to go over your head. Derek Lively was awesome for them. He was impactful, and I think that was the part of this game that really blew it open. Like, Luka played his game, he did good. Kyrie played his game, he did good. Everyone made threes. Derek Lively made a three. PJ Washington made his threes. Derek Jones made a three. Josh Green everyone made three. Tim Hardaway Jr. decided he remembered how to play basketball again. Those didn't matter because it's garbage time, but he made threes. Those Tim Hardaway threes to me were DeLon Wright threes in the Heat game. Like, whatever. Like, the game's over. You take your threes. But it was just an ugly, ugly game of basketball, man. Terrible first half, like you mentioned. They had like 7 points in the second quarter through like 9 minutes, finished with 14, their lowest scoring quarter of a season, lowest scoring half of the season as well, regular season and playoffs. Jaylen Brown, not a good game. This is a really bad Jaylen Brown game, unfortunately, because, I mean, up to this point, he was definitely the finals MVP. He's been incredible. 3 of 12, 1 of 5, 10 points. Jason Tatum wasn't much better. He carried them through the first half, but didn't give him much after that. 4 for 10, 15 points. 1 of 4. Derek White couldn't buy a 3, 2 of 8. Drew Holiday played all right, but he couldn't get his layups to go. He shot 2 of 6 from inside the arc. Peyton Pritchard, we keep cursing them. Our prize picks, we keep cursing these guys. It was the reverse curse last time. It was the real curse this time. Talk about an offensive disaster, and it was just ugly, ugly, ugly old Celtics offense from the jump.
Peyton Pritchard sold his soul.
He did.
To make that heave in game 2. Peyton Pritchard has not made a meaningful shot besides that in this entire series. Peyton Pritchard, it is time to make meaningful shots, sir. He has been so good throughout this playoff run, and he's made the big play, including in this series. That shot he made was a big shot. He needs to make more than one big shot. It needs to happen. He needs to be able to come off the bench and make an impact. He's giving them nothing. And with Kristaps Porzingis out of the lineup, if Peyton Pritchard's playing like this, you're down to 6 guys that you trust. Not great. You're running out of bodies. He has to be there. I'm not looking to pin this on Peyton Pritchard. That just happens to be where I started. But everybody was bad in this game. The offense was as disgusting as I've seen it be. It was one pass shoot. It got extremely lazy. When they got in the hole, it got even lazier. Instead of doing what they did against the Pacers when they were down 1 billion points, they settled, took contested threes, continued to give up the offensive rebounds. The switch was never flipped in this game. I don't know if you want to save concern level stuff for whatever we do tomorrow, which may not be a full pod if you're listening. We have very, very busy, hectic days, the two of us.
Talk about it now, because tomorrow can be the emails, because we have a bunch of them, which is going to be a roller coaster of emotions for the emails. But we can talk about the concern level or whatever now and bleed in, because we're only 8 minutes deep and we got a full pod to fill. So,
Prize Picks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 5 million members. It is the most fun and exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats for a shot to win up 100 times your cash. With Prize Picks, you could turn $10 into $1,000 in a single game watching your favorite sports this summer. You can make a Prize Picks lineup in as little as 60 seconds. You just need to pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you're locked in. Now, if you're looking for promotions, Prize Picks has got you covered every week, from lowering select player stats projections on Tuesdays, which increases your chance of getting a win, to getting your entry fees back if you have a losing lineup on Fridays. The finals mean more on Prize Picks, and so do the star players. You get boosted playoffs on selected basketball stars that you won't find anywhere else. Now, this week on Prize Picks, I'm looking at Jason Tatum, more than 26.5 points. Jaylen Brown, more than 3 threes, which may be aggressive, but I'm running with that. Download that app today and use a code CLNS for a deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
Yeah, so like, am I overly concerned that they lost this game? No, but they've set me up to be very nervous on Monday. Because if they lose on Monday, then I'll be very, very nervous.
That's the problem. Like, listen, this other team has lost 2 games in a row, 3 times this year? It was Sixers, Timberwolves, and then Hawks later in the season, and one in the middle I'm forgetting. Do you remember?
They have
what
not
it was
lost 3 games in a row all season.
No. What was the other 2-game losing streak that I can't remember? It was Denver game and something else, I think. But the point is they don't.
Coast?
I thought so. Here, I'm gonna look at the Celtics schedule. Sorry, you're getting an intermission here while I look this up. The point is, the nothing about what the Celtics team has done this year should scream, "Oh my God, they're gonna blow it!" Right? One, no team has ever blown a 3-0 lead in any series ever, which is, I guess, irrelevant if you want to be the panic mode Bostonians that most fans are. Fine, fair. But 2, again, like I said, everything the Celtics team has told us this year screams they know how to respond. They know what to do. They don't panic. They put wins and losses behind them the same. I was asking about a post game to get some of that mentality perspective. It was Cleveland, Denver, the Cleveland Dean Wade game into the Denver loss is the other 2-game losing streak. But I'm writing an article for Celtics blog based on like how they're treating this loss. And the opening line that I've already written, I haven't finished it, is if there was ever proof of the Boston Celtics consistency, it was after their grandest failure of the year. Because all of the quotes after the game are, we know we need to be better. We sucked, but we're going to put it behind us. Dallas was great. We're going to learn from it. Like the same things you've heard all season. The reason the Celtics team is so successful is because they treat every game the same, whether it's the preseason or the NBA Finals game 4 where you just lost by a historic margin. They don't care. Like Joe Mazzulla said earlier this season, like the healthiest relationship to have with success is to know that you can always get better. He said, it's an unhealthy to think that we're always going to, if we sit back and be happy after every win, it's going to bite us in the ass, right? They understand how to treat wins and losses. They treat them the same for a reason. It's for moments like this. And it sucks. It sucks that their worst game of the season happened in game 4 of the NBA Finals with the title on the line. They built themselves for this. They built themselves to respond to bad games. They built themselves to not overreact. They built themselves to not underreact. They've had the perfect response every single time they've lost a game this season. And to act like it's going to stop now after 100 games of basketball is ludicrous. I'm not saying they're definitely going to win game 5. I'm not saying they're definitely going to do this. But to sit there and act like, oh my gosh, this is the Celtics team we have all been waiting for after you've seen 100 games of not that, is like, I feel fine. It sucks that it happened. And again, I tweeted out, if they do lose game 5, that's when the question marks should really start to come, like, what is happening? But it goes back to the whole thing we said all playoffs. You can't crucify them for something that hasn't happened yet. So you got to trust the mentality and the process, they've built all season.
They earned a freebie in game 4. Not to say like you should, if you're like a fan, you shouldn't be like, oh, like this is fine. Like, you should be like a little irritated. It was frustrating to see them go out there and give you nothing. Like, it's not even like it was they missed every shot game. It was they missed every shot, but the shots they got weren't very good. And then they turned the ball over and they didn't close out defensive possessions. Like, it was such a mess from top to bottom. That is a little bit of a concern, especially the offensive end. The offensive end is a concern because of what we saw at the end of game 3. Game 3, the Celtics had brain damage throughout the entire fourth quarter. They couldn't buy a basket. It was difficult for them no matter what. This entire game was that way. I don't know if Dallas figured something out, but it really felt like when they got inside today, there was far more resistance. The rest of the guys in rotation were quick to the spots. They were in the passing lanes. They were deflecting passes.
Yeah.
Whatever adjustment they made there is something the Celtics are going to have to counter. And I trust Joe. Like, I think Joe is going to have the guys ready. I would have thought Joe was going to have the guys ready today. All they talked about going into today was that they needed to be ready and they understood and blah, 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 and they didn't. But I do suppose they are owed a mistake every once in a while.
Yeah. You win 10 games. Like, if they win 10 games in a row in the regular season, they lose their 11th. It's like, all right, well, it happens. Like, you lose games. again, amplified on this stage, but it does happen. I saw people on Twitter say Joe Mazzulla didn't even call timeouts, like full on blame Mazzulla. He did call the timeouts. He called a million timeouts in the first half, trying to get their head out of their ass.
This
Sometimes
wasn't
it
a
doesn't
Joe
work.
game.
Absolutely.
At least I don't think so. Do you take
no,
it
not
as
at all.
that?
No. These guys, they play stupid. It's not always the coach. I would say it's more often than not the coach. To your point about the adjustments thing, about what Dallas figured out, I think Dallas did a much better job of one. As stupid and easy as it is, they just stayed in front of them better. Like Luka and Kyrie genuinely just stayed in front of guys better, and that is going to help. And on top of that, they did a better job of, if they did get blown by, only sending one guy into the paint, not over rotating, and then keeping guys on the perimeter rotating to those 3-point scores. Like that is the big difference they made, and they made a more concerted effort to do that. Now Horford in the postgame was asked about how difficult, Joe's talked about, the closest you are to winning, the closer you are to losing, et cetera, taking your foot off the gas, whatever. Jared Weiss asked after the game, how difficult was it going through the journey of trying to find your way back into this game, especially since they were able to get so many of those things that you had taken away throughout the series so far. And now Horford had a quote that relates exactly to what you were saying that I was going to bring it up. He said, yeah, it's hard. It's a playoff series. Teams are going to go back and forth. Usually, I've been in a lot of these, and usually by the second game, you're making adjustments. Third game, you're making another adjustment. That's kind of how it is. For us, we've had the first 3 games, and we didn't really make any adjustments. So today they did something. We have to see what we can do, how we can be better, and prepare for it. That's kind of where we're at right now. But it's the playoffs, and they're fighting for their lives, and they play better than us. So, basically, the Mavs finally adjusted, and now we have to make our first adjustment because we haven't had to, because we were just winning. And so, as much as it is, oh my God, they wasted a chance to clinch the series, they won playing a certain style, went up 3-0 because of it, and now they're going to get their first chance to sort of really adjust and change what they're doing. And again, like I said, you have to trust what this team has built. They're one of the best teams ever for a reason. They've been dominant throughout the playoffs for a reason. You have to trust their ability to adjust and move on from it.
Yeah, I mean, we all celebrated today. So, I mean, I can't really blame them.
Tech on our part. A little bit.
I mean, everybody. Not even just
no, I know. Collectively.
Everybody.
Celtics Nation. So, yes. Collectively, for sure.
And that's okay.
Sure.
But at the same time, if you're a fan and you felt the way you felt before the game, you have to have some empathy for the players and be like, okay, well, yeah, I bet they felt it a little bit too. I mean, Jay King just put out the Jason Kidd quote, Mavs came ready to play, Celtics came ready to celebrate. And that's just kind of what it was today. It felt like they had it at the beginning, the very beginning of this game. Yeah, Jay King put out a quote.
Of course he did.
But I don't know, man. I don't feel overly nervous for Monday in terms of Monday's game. I'm nervous if they lose Monday. I'll be nervous during the game on Monday, but I'm not sitting here being like, oh my God, I think they're going to lose on Monday. I, again, think they are going to win on Monday. I hope that they come focused. Mm-hmm. I'm half happy that they will have a chance to close out a finals at home because this Celtics group has never won anything significant at home. All of their finals, their 2 finals berths were won on the road. I mean, they've won conference semifinal games at home, Bucks Game 7, Sixers Game 7. But they haven't lifted a trophy at home since I think 2010. They lifted and they went to the finals after winning Game 6. So it's been a long time since a trophy has been raised by the Celtics on the parquet.
And to your point, it sucks it happened in the way it did, and it sucked it happened with the chance to clinch the series. This is usually how series go. You protect home court, good teams split on the road, and then you go back and take care of business. That is how dominant teams usually win in the playoffs. I feel like Celtics fans were a bit spoiled by the sweep in the Eastern Conference Finals, which, may I remind you, was a competitive-ass sweep. That was Nets 2022 level sweep for the Celtics and the Pacers. The Pacers are a damn good team. But this is usually how series go. I said it before the series started, Sam. I said Celtics in 5. And unfortunately, to be Celtics in 5, you got to lose a game. And it sucks it lost this one. You would rather probably lose Game 3, win Game 4, whatever. But then that leaves panic in Game 4. Okay,
no,
sure. Fine.
I liked having, the little break. It was a celebration, leading up. Yeah. It was nice. But you have to win. Now it looms over me. It's well, what if they lose?
Yeah, of course.
What if they lose the rest of the games?
What if they lose double the amount they've lost at a single time all this time this season?
Hey, man, the Warriors lost 9 games in 2016. They lost 3 in a row in the finals.
Yeah, I know.
Game Time makes getting NBA Finals tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the tip-off. Like right now, I was looking on the app, and it's really easy to use. Just download the app. Lots of pictures for us sports fans, lots of pictures. And, the tickets for Celtics Game 1 and whoever they play, between $600-700. But the closer you get to actual tip time, it's going to go down. So you and your friends may do a last-minute thing. And I know it's a lot of money, but maybe it's 2-3 of your friends. Last-minute trip, boom, let's go. Let's see what the tickets are on Game Time. You never know. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets. Last-minute tickets, flash deals, zone deals. Okay, here's the deal. Last-minute deals save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. Now, the flash deal is save even more with exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of the game or the event. Save even more when you choose a section for the zone deals. You choose a section, let Game Time choose the seats. Sounds pretty good to me. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA Finals tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
The other thing that stood out to me post game was they didn't refuse to say they didn't try, but every time you asked, like, how was the effort? Every time you asked, like, what did you guys do wrong? It was Dallas was great. Dallas. And to a point, like, yeah, Dallas played fucking awesome. Dallas is great in this game. The role players stepped up. Their defense stepped up. Like, they're awesome. But even Joe was pried at by Gary Washburn and Steve of the Boston Globe and Steve Buckley of The Athletic were, like, asking him questions. And Gary Washburn asked something to the effect of, was effort an issue at all? And he says, I don't know. I mean, always in situations like this, it goes back to us. But you have to give Dallas credit. They played well. They played really, really well. And that's the reason why they're in this. It's because they play like that. And so I just thought that they outplayed us. And then later in the presser, you've been asked a couple times with this question. You've been asked a couple times about your team's effort, and you keep going back to how well Dallas played. So how was your team's effort? And he said it wasn't as good as Dallas's was. I thought theirs was a lot better. So, like, there's this refusal to, like, not like credit the other team, and I think in a weird way that's a good thing, because most people are going to look at it and say refusing to accept that you didn't play good enough, and I don't think that's what's happening. I think Joe is so, and he's done it all year. He's so he puts such an emphasis on giving the other team credit, because if you don't give the other team credit and say, no, we played bad, that lives in a world of we should win. We are expected to win. And I've wrote this in an article once, like, winning can be the standard, but it can't be the expectation. And I think that's the mindset that this Celtics team has really cultivated for itself. And it's the reason they're here. Like, by giving Dallas credit, you acknowledge, like, this is a good team on the other side. Like, we have to be better to beat this team. Not we should beat this team. Like, oh my gosh, we suck. Like, this team sucks. We should beat them every time. Because that's arrogant. That's ignorant. Like you can't do that. And so having that mentality of, we need to acknowledge that they're here for a reason, and moving forward with that mindset rather than, nah, we suck, like it's all about us. Like, no, it's about the other team is damn good too. So make the correct adjustments and fix your play to beat theirs, not fix your play because we're better anyways. And I think that's the healthy way to look at it. And it's been a constant, like, all year. I've written about it all the time. I'm going to write about it again tonight.
It's true. It's a good point, and it's a good way to look at it, because if they're just being like, yeah, we sucked, they really do discount Dallas. I mean, Dallas set the tone in this game. Derek Lively really should get the gold star.
He was awesome. Him and Exum.
Yeah.
Dante Exum was awesome in this game. Like, he came
I was too late on it, because, like, by the time the tweet came into my head, the game was already, like, in the fourth quarter. But I was like, I just watched Dante Exum make an impact in a playoff game against my team. Ask me anything.
That's probably how Mavs fans felt after Xavier Tillman's corner 3 in game 3.
Speaking of corner threes, Derek White, buddy, time to make them. Derek, I mean, Jack, here's a legitimate. So this is one of the dominoes in my head, right?
Yeah.
all we've heard about this series is water finds its level, water finds its level, water finds its level. The Celtics just have not shot well from three. I mean, what did they shoot? They shot 34% today.
It was
They
pretty good in
shot-
game 1. But other than that,
Okay.
yeah.
Game 3, they shot, go ahead, NBA.com, you got it, 37%. So I guess it wasn't that.
Not terrible in
But
game
it
3.
just doesn't feel like they have been making threes at the same rate that we
It hasn't
have
been lights
come
out.
to understand that they can do.
Yeah. I think, unfortunately, like, Derek White hasn't shot the ball well since the Miami series, like, consistently. Like, he's had some spurts in some games, but, like, he's made big ones. This isn't me, like, trashing on Derek White.
Even today,
Derek
one of the only two he made was a jump
Heat.
ball, tip at half court, and he's like, oh, fuck, gotta put it up,
Yeah.
and makes it.
Someone just stomped on the Mavs logo midcourt. I don't want to act like too overconfident because I don't want to curse or whatever. I don't believe in that stuff, but I know some people are more superstitious than others. Water finds its level, yes. I won't say it will happen. I'll just say it would be electric if it found its level in Game 5 in an absolute beatdown, a la Game 6, 2008
Yeah, I would love
NBA
that.
Finals. Do you know what I'm saying?
My dream is this game, but flipped on its head.
I kind of feel that in the air. I don't know why, and I'll look like an idiot and I'll look whack if I'm wrong, but it feels like bounce backs have been Celtics key, like big. Excuse me, big Celtics like thing all season. Like early in the season, they lost 2 in a row. Minnesota, Philly, came back, whooped Brooklyn's ass by 14. Lost to Charlotte, came back, whooped Milwaukee's ass. They only won by 3, but it was a blowout. Lost to Orlando, won by 10 against Atlanta. Lost to Indiana, won by 10 against New York. Lost to Golden State in overtime, kicked Sacramento's ass by damn near 40 points, right? Lost to Oklahoma City, beat the Jazz by 30. Indiana lost, Minnesota overtime win, so I guess that's different. Lost to Milwaukee in a blowout, blew out the Rockets. Like every time they've lost this season, they come out and they fucking spank the team on the other end. Most of the times they lose, I should say. Everything we've seen from these two teams outside of tonight has been the Celtics are the more talented team. Tonight sucked. The Celtics played their worst game of the season. They scored the fewest points they've scored in a game all season. If you expect that to happen 3 more times, I can't get there. I can't get there. And they've been so good at responding all year. You bet your ass they're going to play their hearts out in game 5. I asked like Jalen some questions about like, how do you mentally, what's your message to the locker room after a game like this? Like you've taken on a vocal. Learn. He said, we learn from it. We take it. We don't dismiss it. We're going to learn from it. We're going to see how and why exactly where the game was won and lost. And then we take those experiences. We come out and we play like our life depends on it because it does. Right. Jason Tatum was asked about the TD Garden crowd. I think it's going to be as loud as it's ever been in my 7 years of being a Celtic. Excited to get back home, celebrate Father's Day on Sunday, and compete for a championship on Monday. It should be a lot of fun. Like they're so focused on win or loss all season. Like they said it here. I asked them about it. Win or loss, it doesn't matter. We're going to treat it the same. We're going to move on. I again wrote it in an article. The past is irrelevant. The future doesn't exist, and the present is all they focus on. Like genuinely, and that's what's going to happen here. It sucks that it happened on the stage, but that's what's going to happen here. I believe that with my whole heart.
I hope you're right. I would love to see an absolute stress-free game that's just a coronation on Monday. For what it's worth, I felt like they were going to get that in Game 6 in 2022 against the Miami Heat. They did not.
Mm-hmm.
Because Jimmy Butler had a monster game.
Different team. It's a different team.
Well, I was going to make a point.
Hand up. My fault.
Jimmy Butler loves to play on the road. Luka Doncic loves to play on the road. He loves to be the villain. One of the dominoes that scares me is what if Luka has the Luka game in Game 5, that he has like 40 points, unstoppable. But the counter to that is like, dude gets fucking tired. He is always tired. So I don't know, man. I truly just don't know what to think. Like I'm not panicking, but at the same time, I no longer feel comfortable, which is what happens when your team loses. But this was the free space game. Like, yeah, okay. I mean, we all celebrated beforehand. It's not crazy to think about the players maybe being a little ahead of themselves in this game. Don't lose on Monday. Because if you lose on Monday, then you have to go back to Dallas, You have to play in front of a fired up crowd again. I just don't want to see it. I have no interest in seeing that.
Not at all. My boy Sfima Kyler couldn't make a shot either. I was so sad. I love him. That's so random, but I just wanted to throw it in at the end. Any final thoughts before we get on out of here? I think we covered most of it, but tough.
Maybe find
tough
a way
game.
to get Al Horford more than one shot next game.
Yeah. The Mavs
One
did a good
for
job of
one.
taking away the corner threes, and I think that really hurt Al, like you mentioned earlier. Like, yeah, got to get him the ball a little bit more. Tough look. Peyton Pritchard shot.
You know
of
what
the year.
rocks about this loss is there's 2 days in between this and the next game, so we can just sit and think about it.
Stew. We get to stew. Yeah, real fun. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Leave a like, subscribe, notification bell on. If this isn't proof that we're here, no matter what, Kylian Mbappe, you're not going to find better proof. Let's Sam take it out.
Hey, thank you very much for listening and watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for happier videos. Full pods coming at you Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday typically. Whatever you guys get tomorrow is going to be different. We think it's going to be a mailbag. We're not sure. I have to help the lady move. Jack has to get home. It's going to be a hectic day for us. We're going to get you something, but probably not going to be a full pod. You can also find game recaps like this one on the channel and other videos to keep you busy in between. Leave a like, comment, tell us what you thought. I'm sure you have plenty to say. Our streams are on here too. Talking C's typically Monday, Wednesday, Friday mornings. Celtics Roundtable usually Tuesday evenings. Jack and I are here a half hour before every single game. Even if the time says hour and a half, I can assure you it is a half hour. You can also find us on Spotify and Apple. Our full pods and game recaps will be right there for you, audio only. So if you follow, they'll go right into your feed. Leave a 5-star review. We would appreciate it very much. You can also email us, hbtcpod@gmail.com. This one person cannot stop doing it. They're emailing us from a phone number right now, and they're just firing off text messages.
They're all like
Which
sent as,
we
like,
probably-
zip files. They're not even like in the email. They're like, I opened one. They're like zip files of like shit like that.
No, this guy, it says Boston trouble dropping that game 4 in Dallas. Stupid ass Boston team doesn't
I know.
deserve to win. Another email. I hope Dallas beat the brakes off of Boston. Boston is done. Is done is one word. Final email. Lost that game just to take back to Boston to try and win at home. Just plain dumb.
But like, I don't know what they're doing. Is my point. Like, look, it's not even in the email. It's like a text file. Like, I don't get.
I think they are texting our email from their phone. Like, the reason I
Oh.
read those is because when we do the show, I don't want to have the email on the screen because it's definitely their phone number. Like, if you
Yeah.
called that number right now, somebody would pick up.
Oh yes. Let's see. GeoGuessr. Let's see where they're from.
Jack Dox is the person while I close the show. The socials are at How About Them C's, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. The Facebook's the name of the pod. Our streams are there. They're on YouTube. They are on Twitter. Jack's Twitter's at Jackson NBA. Mine is at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.
Taco. Come on. Taco.